Yeah, all good. All good. Just gone for a nice walk this evening. It's beautiful late spring evening here. A bit cooler than it has been, but nevertheless, it's beautiful. Nice evening. Really, really nice evening. And I was doing a bit of thinking, going for a walk, how many years ago when I interviewed a former professional footballer on radio, and I've interviewed a lot of people on radio, a lot of former professional footballers, athletes, sports people, people in different professions, and yeah, over many years I've interviewed a lot of people, and you learn when you interview people, you listen, you learn, and his story was quite, and you couldn't help not admire. I really admire what he achieved in the game. His resilience, the hard work he put in, and getting there. But I suppose I couldn't help also thinking that hard work in football, it doesn't always pay off in the way you'd expect it to. It's not a mathematical equation. You get these people who put these sort of memes, work harder, and I'm not saying not to work hard, not saying there's not benefit in doing it, but what I'm saying is that it doesn't always pay off in the way maybe you'd like it to, expect it to. And you can train properly, you can do the extra runs, you can stay disciplined, you can give it everything, and there's a chance you still might not get picked. There's a chance that you might not get the contract. You might not get the opportunity. As a team, you can still lose the game. It's a difficult truth, I think, for sure, especially in football, because often you quite see the memes and people saying just work hard. And I know from years' experience of working game, it's not that easy. It doesn't always work that way. I've seen plenty of people give everything they've got, and not make it to where they want to get to. And I'm not saying not to work hard. I'm not giving advice or making suggestions. I'm just telling it like it is. And one time I was doing a talk at an academy, and I sort of mentioned, not suggesting not to put the effort in. Obviously, go out there and you give it your best shot. Obviously, for sure. I think, in my opinion, try and live a balanced life as well, and have other interests, and that's just my take on it. I'm not saying what other people shouldn't do, but I think there's a lot of variables. Just the sheer math alone, without sort of the stats off the top of my head, the small percentage you make it professionally. I suppose the analogy is, it's like if you've got thousands of people applying for one job, just the sheer math alone, it's not easy. If there's one job going, you've got thousands of people applying for it, then your chances become more limited. And also, there's the genetic side of things, the physicality. Obviously, some players defy the odds in that sense, for sure, absolutely. But in reality, some people, like physically, can run faster, jump higher, better spatial awareness. It's that perfect storm. I'm not saying you can't learn from people. Of course you can. I'm not saying you can't learn, you can't improve your game, but there's so many variables: the timing, selection, injury, luck, if you want to call it luck. Sometimes this a team might need a certain player at a certain time, and all these sort of variables. There's opinions in the game. Coach might think, well, you're not the sort of player they want at that time, or I don't sort of rate you as a player. There's the politics in the game. There's no getting away from that. Obviously, the game itself, what it's like. It's sort of, sometimes it can be who you know, and that sort of stuff as well. There's so many moments outside your control. There really is. And that's not sort of suggesting to people not to have a go. If that's what you want to do, absolutely, have a go. And like I said, I'm not here to give people advice or make suggestions. My perspective is have a plan, learn from people, learn from coaches, learn from other players, give it your best shot as well. But I think there's sort of a reality that hard work may not always guarantee the outcome you're looking for. But I think what it does do, it shapes the person. One thing it does do, it builds standards, it builds resilience, it builds self-respect to know you give it the best you can. It I think for me, you can transfer that across to other areas of life as well. Professionally, you can transfer it to academia, you can transfer it to sort of the principles to sort of, business when things don't go your way. Sometimes the reward of hard work isn't immediate success. Sometimes we call it, becoming someone who's ready to take the opportunity when it arrives. So yeah, hard work doesn't always pay off straight away, but I don't think, in my opinion, it's wasted. I think that the skills that you develop, getting your head down, rolling your sleeves up in football and giving it a good go, can be transferred to a lot of areas in life. And that's not sort of masking the disappointment of not getting the contract, not getting selected, losing a game, because obviously there is disappointment in that. But equally, I think having a balanced perspective and thinking, okay, I give it my best shot. And that's as much as all of us can do, really. But that's my take on it. You might see it differently. Like I said, I'm not suggesting not to put the effort in. I'm not suggesting not to have a go. I'm just suggesting that, having a balanced view and the realization that it's not a straight mathematical equation where, putting all the hard work in is going to guarantee any outcome. But I think that my perspective is that there's a benefit in learning to roll your sleeves up, keep your head down, and give it your best shot. That's transferable anyway. That's my take on it. Always great to hear other people's take on it as well. That's just the way I see it.